So, friends, Donald Trump has now said he will be arrested on Tuesday for his New York State crimes, and he tells his supporters, in substance, come to Manhattan on Tuesday will be wild. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, I'm sure you've seen it by now. Donald Trump's reckless, dangerous, incendiary post. Here's what he posted on his third-rate social media platform. Now, illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's office, which has allowed new records to be set in violent crime and whose leader is funded by George Soros, indicate that, with no crime being able to be proven, and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate and former President of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest, take our nation back. So friends, Donald Trump ends his long, vomitous string of words, his nonsense, his lies, by saying the former President of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest, take our nation back. You know, friends, Donald Trump is inciting imminent violence again. Donald Trump has priors in this regard. Remember, hey, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Remember, come to D.C. on January 6th will be wild. Remember, once his mob was assembled on the ellipse on January 6th, what did he tell them? Go down to the Capitol, fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore. Now go. Stop the certification. Stop the steal. He incited people to imminent lawlessness, and friends, he's doing it again with a post riling his supporters up, telling them to come and protest and take our nation back. He's doing it all over again. So friends, what should we expect come Tuesday? That is, assuming Donald Trump is telling the truth, that he will actually be arrested and presented in court in Manhattan on Tuesday, because by then the grand jury will have indicted him for the crimes he committed in New York. What might Tuesday look like? Well, remember when he called his angry supporters, whipped them into an angry mob on January 6th? Why were they so riled up? Because he had been incessantly lying to them about their vote being stolen, their election being rigged, their president being taken away from them. You're being deprived of your favorite president. So come to D.C., we'll be wild. Fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore. Now go, stop the steal. And they did. They attacked the Capitol, trying to stop the certification of Joe Biden's win. So the motivation of those people who were at Donald Trump's speech on January 6th was very different from what the motivation may be come Tuesday. On January 6th, because of Donald Trump's lies, the way they had saturated the public conscience, at least the people who were either unwilling or unable to separate fact from fiction, and they bought into Donald Trump's lies, it probably motivated those people to take very personally the mission that Donald Trump put them on January 6th, to attack the Capitol and stop the certification. I think the motivation now, come Tuesday, will be very different, because Donald Trump hasn't whipped them up with any kind of lies that directly impact them the way the lies directly impacted them on January 6th, because At that time, they believed their vote had been stolen, their election rigged, and they had to go up the street to the Capitol to put a stop to it. Here, the motivation is very different. Here, Donald Trump is telling his supporters, hey, I'm going to be arrested on Tuesday, and I would like you to come to Manhattan and act up, kick up dust, perhaps engage in a little imminent violence if you don't mind, and maybe that will inure to my benefit. Maybe somehow that will what? Stop the authorities from prosecuting me? I have to believe even his most gullible supporters will not be up for round 2 of taking Donald Trump's orders to engage in violence by coming to Manhattan on Tuesday. Here's the other thing that I hope Donald Trump's supporters are aware of and have absorbed. The people that Donald Trump, enticed to the Capitol on January 6th and then ordered to attack the Capitol are being indicted and tried and convicted and imprisoned by the hundreds. And Donald Trump didn't pardon a single one when he had the opportunity to, and he's doing absolutely nothing for them now. He used them for his own nefarious purposes, trying to unlawfully retain the power of the presidency, and they are all paying the price. But Donald Trump hasn't paid one thin dime for what he told them to do on January 6th. And we heard reporting this week, friends, that the Department of Justice is anticipating another 700 to 1,000 arrests of other insurrectionists, of other Donald Trump foot soldiers, more boots of the insurrection. So I think we should send the message far and wide. Maybe it will permeate Trump world that, you probably ought not listen to Donald Trump when he calls you to violence this coming Tuesday, because you are likely to end up jailed, imprisoned, convicted, serving a sentence just the way Donald Trump's supporters who listened to him and acted based on his orders that they should attack the Capitol, they're paying the price. So maybe come Tuesday, y'all don't want to pay that same price. Would seem to make sense to me. Here's the other thing I want to touch on. Boy, Donald Trump remains king of the miscalculation, because had Donald Trump not posted this incendiary message, right? Your president is going to be arrested. Come to Manhattan, take your nation back, protest. Had he not posted that, he probably would have walked into court on Tuesday for his arraignment. That's the technical name for the first court hearing after you've been indicted. It's when the judge will read the indictment, put the defendant on notice of the charges that he will have to defend against. He probably would have walked into court, he would have been arraigned, and he would have walked out, perhaps on his own recognizance. But now he may have bought himself a whole heap of trouble. Why? Because it looks like he's willing to incite imminent lawless conduct again for his own nefarious purposes by replicating what he did back on January 6th. I'll tell you, if I'm a judge and I'm looking at that, I am thinking long and hard about what to do with Donald Trump pending trial. I think at most he was probably facing some travel restrictions. Maybe the judge would order Trump not to take any overseas trips for fear that Donald Trump might flee, might not return for trial. Perhaps a judge, if he or she was being really forward-leaning, might order Donald Trump to surrender his passport, might even try to put some limitations on his speech, though prior restraint of speech gag orders are disfavored by courts and by judges. They rarely are willing to do it because it conjures up First Amendment free speech rights of a defendant. But now, Donald Trump has shown himself to be a danger to the community. He has shown himself willing to call people to the scene, whether it's D.C. or Manhattan, to do his dirty bidding, to protest, to try to take our nation back, to engage in violence. If I'm a judge, I'm going to think long and hard about whether he poses the kind of danger to the community that militates in favor of jailing him pending trial. I think that very unlikely, but I think it's a discussion that perhaps should be had when Donald Trump is arrested and presented in court. And let me end with this, friends. I'm going to file this under the heading of even a blind mouse bumps into a piece of cheese every now and then, because for months, I have been saying on air, on social media, and on these Daily Justice Matters videos that the moment Donald Trump knows he's been indicted, his first post will be, "Come to Manhattan for my arraignment will be wild." Or if Georgia got out of the gate first, "Come to Georgia for my arraignment will be wild." And I'm sorry to say Donald Trump proved me to be right in that regard. The danger Donald Trump poses to society, to our communities, to our democracy cannot be overstated, and I hope that is a robust topic of discussion on the day he walks into court and is arraigned on his criminal indictment. At that moment, Donald Trump will have earned probably the worthiest title he will ever have earned, the title of criminal defendant. And that is long overdue, friends, because justice matters. Hold on tight, friends. Please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again soon.